Entertainment Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7, and my thoughts on this episode. I don't get the hype. I don't get why a lot of people are saying Star Wars is back because of this one episode. It wasn't that great. And I get it, some people are going to go absolutely insane for the final part of this episode. Like, fine. Like, okay, if you're a 5-year-old child, of course that last scene was great. But let's be honest, everything other than that final scene, which I will agree was a great scene, okay? I'm a fucking child at heart myself. But still, everything other than the final act was ridiculous, boring garbage. Like, a fucking... Oh, I can't even go into that because that's spoilers, but it was like a ship on... Oh, never mind. Listen, it wasn't a great episode. It was kind of boring. And then what we find out about Bo-Katan and how stupid she is in this episode, it's like, why is she still in charge? If I had heard what she said in this episode, as a Mandalorian, you would feel betrayed. You would honestly not want to follow this woman to the fucking anywhere. So for them to try to make this stupid, story about trying to make us like her and the fact the Mandalorian's just going to trust her again after what she flipping tells the Mandalorians what she's done, it's just stupid. Okay? Most of this episode was crap. There are good parts, okay? I like the beginning bit. I like the Shadow Council. That was interesting. I like the story parts of the Empire and what they're doing. I think that stuff is interesting. But the Mandalorian parts are where you're starting to just look ridiculous. Well, actually, that part goes to the stupid Grogu stuff. Oh my god. They give him a suit. Oh, spoiler, I know. But it's just so bloody stupid. I'm sorry, this episode is not fantastic. It's passable at the best. But to me, it's just... Listen, it's not as bad as last week's episode, which was bad. But it isn't great. And I'm just utterly annoyed that some people are just turning around and saying it's a great episode just for the final scene. Oh, and we actually do get a connection to the sequels in this fucking episode, which is connected to the final scene with those stupid red pricks. I'll go into that in my spoiler section. But for me, this episode was crap. Sorry, it was just crap. Okay, the final act, fine. But everything else, it just wasn't great. I think it's a 3 out of 10. And those 3s, and the 3 is just for the final act. Everything else, I didn't like. So, let's go into spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So, the episode starts off with Khan on Coruscant going to meet up with an Imperial probe droid. And the Imperial probe droid has been sent by Moff Gideon to talk to her because she has information for Gideon that is important. And she tells Moff Gideon about the Mandalorians teaming up again and how that's a serious threat to the Empire's, rise from the ashes. So Moff Gideon says he's going to deal with it. And the next scene is Moff Gideon heading to a meeting of the Shadow Council. Now, I liked the Shadow Council because we got a little bit of EU stuff with this. I think I saw a couple of characters from the book. One missing his moustache. I did like the fact we got Admiral Pelion in the story. And yes, I am definitely sure now that Thrawn is definitely going to be at the end of this series because, I mean, if Pelion is there, come on, he's obviously going to appear at some point. Anyway, so, all these admirals and moffs and whatever are all discussing the plans to rebuild the Empire by making sure the New Republic is weak and that they don't seem as much of a threat to the New Republic as they are. So they are deciding to try to keep it very secret that they are not working with each other and that a lot of the Imperial warlords are working on their own. So again, the Republic doesn't take notice. Now I think this is interesting. I would have liked to have seen more of this from Mandalorian series. I would like to see us develop this story a lot more, but unfortunately we had to concentrate on fucking Baby Yoda again. Anyway, so Moff Gideon has called this meeting to warn them about the Mandalorians and how he's starting to get very annoyed at the fact that he needs more troops, more equipment, and the Praetorian Guard. And yes, if you know who those fuckers are, those red morons from The Last Jedi who got their ass kicked by Rey and Kylo. So that is the connection to the sequel trilogy, unfortunately. So he's asked for them so he can take out what's left of the Mandalorians. And when Gideon tells the other Imperials about the Mandalorians, they kind of realise that if the Mandalorians take back Mandalore, then that could be a serious threat to the rise of the Empire, or whatever the new thing is going to be called. It's going to be the First Order, isn't it? Fucking hell. So they agree to Moff Gideon's request. They send him the Praetorian Guards and all the extra TIE fighters and interceptors that he's requested. And yeah, the Imperials are going to get ready to attack the Mandalorians, basically. The next scene is the Mandalorian fleet arriving at Griff Karga's planet. I forgot what the hell the planet's called, sorry. But the Mandalorian fleet arrives to the Mandalorian faction on the planet, and they land their fleet, and Bo-Katan meets with the Forge Woman to, well, unite the two tribes together, because that's how Mandalorians work, by the tribal system. Okay, fine. So, both tribes meet. They pretty much don't like each other because, Bo-Katan's forces take their helmets off and the other ones don't, and those Mandalorians don't really respect any other Mandalorians that take their helmets off for some weird reason. So, they all sit down and try to negotiate. Oh, I have to mention something else. So, Griff Karga comes over to see the fucking Mandalorians because they pretty much brought an armada with them. He gives Mando some whiskey or some wine or whatever from Coruscant, and he gives Mandalorian a present for Grogu, which is basically it's the IG-11, but it's now called IG-12 because it's basically a car for fucking Grogu. And this is supposed to be some fucking suit to protect him from all his enemies, basically. I thought it looked fucking ridiculous. And then we get this stupid scene where Mando is walking with the IG suit with Grogu in it, walking down, I don't know, some fucking lane in the city where Grogu starts grabbing shit with a droid. And Mando kind of realises giving a child something that fucking strong is stupid. Anyway, they get back to camp. Both sides of the Mandalorian tribes are looking at each other like they hate each other. And Bo-Katan says that the mission for both tribes is now to retake Mandalore, to rebuild it and bring back all the tribes of the Mandalorians home. But she needs to take a force of Mandalorians to go onto the planet to make sure it's safe for the fleet. So she asks both tribes to volunteer to join the operation. So a bunch of fucking people volunteer to join as the scouts of the mission, and the entire Mandalorian fleet heads off to Mandalore. They arrive at Mandalore, and Bo-Katan heads down to scout the planet. They land on the planet. They land on the planet, they have a look around, and then they are instantly met by a random ship full of Mandalorians that were abandoned on the planet. And these Mandalorians have stayed loyal to Bo-Katan for some reason. And Bo-Katan then joins forces with them. They jump on their ship and head off to the Forge. But before then, they also have a meal with each other because apparently these Mandalorians that got left behind barely have anything to eat. So they stayed on a planet that was dangerous and there was no food. So these are very smart Mandalorians. Fucking hell. So whilst they're at dinner with each other, the Mandalorians that stayed on Mandalore explain what happened to Mandalore. The Empire did the purge. They destroyed everything. And they've been basically surviving on basically nothing. Waiting for the return of Mandalorians, basically. And then Bo-Katan decides at this moment to reveal how the fuck the purge happened in the first place. And it turns out, whilst the Mandalorians were fighting the Empire was getting sick of it, so they decided to double down at defeating the Mandalorians. Bo-Katan pretty much realised Mandalorians couldn't fight the entire Empire on their own, so she decided to surrender to the Empire. This is what she said. She just surrendered to Moff Gideon, and the way she did it was to hand him the Darksaber so he would let the Mandalorians live. And she also agreed to disarming every fucking Mandalorian because that makes sense. Oh my god. It didn't work because Moff Gideon just bombed the fuck out of Mandalore and fucking nearly wiped out all the Mandalorians. So Bo-Katan literally stabbed her people in the back, gave away their most prized fucking possession, and it still fucking ended up with them getting blown nearly to smithereens. How the fuck can she stay in charge when she was that fucking fooled by Gideon? It's a stupid fucking scene, and it just shows how stupid Bo-Katan is. The last 2 episodes, I have really turned off of fucking Bo-Katan. She used to be a very interesting character. Now she's just a fucking moron. So she admits this to the audience Mandalorians, and they're all just not that bothered. None of them. And she then goes off to have a little sulk on her own because she's a bit ashamed of what she did, obviously. And then Mando goes over and pretty much tells her, hey, don't worry, I'm still going to follow you, even though you led Mandalore to basically near extinction. Fucking hell. So they all get back on the fucking ship. They sail off or drive off to the forge, the main forge, because apparently now this big massive forge is the most important thing in Mandalorian culture. Oh, I forgot the stupid thing Bo-Katan said. Before she ended the fucking dinner meeting, whatever, she said nobody's ever beaten Mandalorians or Mandalore. Fun fact, Bo-Katan, Revan kicked the shit out of you and killed Mandalore. So the Jedi kicked your ass. Twice. What the fuck? I mean, does anybody at Lucasfilm do any fucking research? The Mandalorians have been defeated a bunch of times. Not saying it's easy, but they have been defeated. So having a stupid line of the Mandalorians have never been defeated, they've been defeated a couple of times. The Jedi, clones, fucking Empire. Like, come on. God's sake. So they get to near the forge, and then they're attacked by this giant monster thing that destroys the ship and kills a couple of Mandalorians. They all go underground, they find the massive forge, and then are attacked by new jet troopers from the Empire. But these jet troopers are different from old Imperial jet troopers as they're wearing Beskar armour. Now I will give the episode and series credit for showing that the Empire are at least improving, because I thought that was badass. I mean, why the fuck would you not use Beskar armor for your troops? It's impervious. So the Mandalorians get attacked by these new Beskar jet troopers, but then we start getting into the realm of ridiculousness, because just having both sides shooting at each other and the shots just bounce off, it looked bad to me, okay? It looked ridiculous. You're just seeing some of the actors kind of just moving like, oh, I've been here a little bit, oh no. To me, again, it does look like a badass scene. But when you stop for a second and just notice some of the actors and actresses involved, it did look childish at some points. I'm sorry, that's just how I saw it. So the Mandalorians start getting the upper hand on these new jet troopers and then chase these jet troopers down a obvious fucking trap. They get then caught in this trap, and then Moff Gideon comes down in a badass fucking Beskar Imperial suit. Listen, I like the suit. I thought it looked great. And Moff Gideon kind of reveals to them, oh, I should say before this trap is sprung, the Mandalorians all realise that this is a Imperial base that's run now by Moff Gideon. Anyway, Moff Gideon lands in his new armour. It turns out it's new Death Trooper armour that he's created that anybody can wear, that makes the user impervious to a lot of shit. And so Moff Gideon has trapped these Mandalorians. He has a little go at... Oh, sorry. Before he comes down, I know, I forgot this scene too. Mando takes on a couple of fucking Beskar jet troopers. Two of the Mandalorians with Mando get killed, and he just gets captured by these Beskar jet troopers. Moff Gideon comes down and takes Mando somewhere to be interrogated. Why you'd bother? Why wouldn't you just kill Din Djarin? Why would you not just kill him? He's right there. You really don't need that much information from him. Just kill him now. Oh my god, I hate this stupid fucking villain shit. Take this lead character away so we can escape later and win the fucking day. It was just a stupid scene. Anyway, Moff Gideon then goes up to talk to Bo-Katan. He wants the Darksaber back. He then tells the Mandalorians that their time is done, and now Moff Gideon wants to create a new empire from the best parts of the clones, the Mandalorians and the Jedi. So I think, because a project was mentioned in the Dark Council and I've completely forgot about it, there's a secret project of clones, and I think it's clone Jedi that they are creating. So Moff Gideon is creating a new army for the Empire, or at least this Dark Council is, and I think they've started to clone Jedi. Because I also think there's other connections you can get from other series, like from the Bad Batch, Omega. I still think Omega has got the Force in it. I still think that. But yeah, I think we're all starting to connect the dots here. They are cloning Jedi now. But anyway, Moff Gideon tells the Mandalorians their time's done. Mandalore is controlled by the Empire, and now they're going to finish the job of the Purge by wiping out what's left of the Mandalorians by destroying their fleet. Moff Gideon orders the attack on the fleet. He sends bombers and Imperial interceptors to go up there to destroy him, and pretty much tells Bo-Katan to tell the Mandalorians to surrender to the Empire. But Bo-Katan refuses, and Feige's character then fires his blaster or his big fucking gun at the door. They blow open the door. He then runs forward, starts attacking the Beskar jet troopers. He takes on a shitload of them. He tells all the rest of the Mandalorians to run for it. Well, he tells Bo-Katan to open the door, basically. She opens a hole in the fucking door. All the Mandalorians run through it. Bo-Katan tries to save Feige's character. Favreau. Favreau's character to come with them. There's enough time, but he says there's too many of them. And to just run, basically. So Bo-Katan runs, and then Favreau's character takes on what's left of the Beskar jet troopers, and he wipes them all out, basically. So there wasn't too many after all, was there? Favreau. But we then get the end scene, which is the fucking dumbest fucking scene, in my opinion. We get the Praetorian Guard showing up, and they pretty much kick the shit out of Favreau's character and kill him. And that's the end of the episode. I know a lot of people are going to say his death is pretty important. Oh, it was so heartbreaking. Really? He fucking got beaten by fucking Praetorian Guards. Do you not remember the throne scene where 8 got massacred by Kylo and Rey? Now, if someone tries to bring up the fact where it's Kylo and Rey, fuck off. Okay? Those bloody... Oh, I'm sorry. It just reminded me so much of that stupid fucking throne scene with the Praetorian Guard. I hate those fucking idiots. Why didn't you just say Royal Guard? That would have been cool to see fucking Palpatine's Red Guard come at fucking Favreau's character. That would have been interesting. They could have used their special fucking swords. The Praetorian Guard? What a waste of fucking time. Oh, I don't care. I'm sorry his fucking character's dead, but I didn't enjoy it. I hated seeing those stupid pricks with their dumb fucking weapons, because they can't just carry bloody lightsabers. No, they have these special... Oh, I hate those fucking characters. I hate those fucking things. Why bring them into your show? It's just ridiculous. You could have used Palpatine's Royal fucking Guard, but you decided to use fucking stupid Praetorian Guards. It just pisses me off. It really does. And Palpatine's Royal Guard could really use a lot more screen time, because if you've read the books on them, if you have read the Crimson Empire comic books, they are amazing books and show what the Palpatine's guards could do. And this could have been the episode where you showed that. And that would have been a great way for him to go, to take on them. But no, you decide to go with the Praetorian Guard. You fucking morons. And the episode ends with Favreau's death. And that's it. I don't think this episode was great. I think it was boring at times. And there was only one good scene, and that was the Jet Troopers' attack on the Mandalorians. And that was it. And I'm just disappointed. It's a 3 out of 10 for me. It wasn't great. And I think I'm just gutted right now what we could have had if they had actually read the fucking books. And that's the end of my video. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And take more soldier. Bye.